So first, let's talk about NARR. NARR is the National Alliance of Recovery Residences. We are a nonprofit organization that serves as the national voice for recovery residences. NARR is dedicated to supporting individuals in recovery from substance use disorders by offering guidance, resources, and advocacy for quality recovery housing, with a focus on promoting the development, support, and implementation of quality recovery residents. We set the standards, provide best practices for recovery residences, and advocate for ethical business practice within the recovery housing industry. So we write the standards, we write the ethics and best practices. We constantly review them and go back and revise them. We're currently on NARR Standards 3.0, and we've been rolling that out across the country. We advocate for recovery residences and their rights and the residents' rights that reside in those homes. We have a lot of educational programs and resources like the one that is being facilitated today for you all. We do a lot of community engagement and outreach. We work with a lot of partnerships and a lot of collaborations from the White House down. At our conference, we do a lot of recognition and support of affiliates and homes that are doing the right thing and try to amplify those models across the country. And then we're involved in a lot of policy influence and guidance as far as helping states with legislation and recovery residents and recovery residents initiatives. This is NARR's current footprint. So everywhere you see dark purple, we currently have a NARR affiliate, with Delaware being our newest affiliate. So welcome on board. Anyone in a light purple, we are currently working with to develop an affiliate organization in that respective state. And I'm pretty much hands-on with every single one of those states and helping them form or reform in some cases, like Arizona and Kentucky and New York, and getting an affiliate there so we can begin certifying homes and have that availability in that state. No, I'm in a meeting. Go to your uncle. Sorry about that. All right, so NARR's core principles. I do apologize because I wanted all these to come in together, not individually. So principle A is that we operate with integrity. Principle B is that we uphold the residents' rights. What gives us the protection under FHA and ADA is the residents themselves. It's not us as operators, it's the people who we are serving. And so we want to make sure that we're upholding their rights so that we have the protection of operating and living in those single family homes instead of commercialized space. Principle C is creating a culture of empowerment where residents engage in governance and leadership. Principle D, develop staff abilities to apply the social model. And we're going to hear that word a lot, staff. And when we're talking about peer leaders, they are part of our staff. They are part of what holds residents accountable. They do have responsibilities that mimic staff roles, whether they're paid or unpaid. Our peer roles are part of our staffing model. Principle E, provide a home-like environment. Principle F, promote a safe and healthy environment. Principle G, facilitate active recovery and recovery community engagement. Principle H, model pro-social behaviors and relationship enhancement skills. Principle I, cultivate the resident's sense of belonging and responsibility for community. And then Principle J, be a good neighbor. And under each one of these principles, we have standards, and you can see them listed here, all the standards. And under every standard, there is a substandard. We are not going to dive deep into standards today. FSAR does have our standards training modality that's available online that you can take at your pace. So you can get with Sarah or Andrew to get you all logged into that system and take that standards training to have a more in-depth look of what the standards mean and how they were developed. So let's talk about support levels. Now this can get a little confusing because NARR has 4 distinct support levels. However, if you've heard your supervisors or you all qualifying as like a 3.1 under ASAM, that can get confusing because that would be considered a NARR level 4 home. So we're going to break down what that means right now. All right, so first, all of our levels are alcohol and drug and free environments. All 4 levels are going to apply the social model of recovery. However, you'll see down here, our level 4 is also going to blend clinical into social. While clinical services may not be being offered at the actual housing unit, if the resident is required to participate in a clinical service program in order to reside in the home, then that is considered a level 4 program. All 4 levels are going to be offering the delivery of peer support services. And then when we break down, a level 1 is going to be typically like what you would think of an Oxford model. It's peer ran, it's all peers. There may be some regional director or whatever you're calling it, a housing director that comes in to check in on the homes and make sure that everybody's doing what they need to be doing and it's still that safe drug and alcohol free environment. However, there is no staff that is actually facilitating day-to-day operation in that home. Typically in a NARR level 1, that is a senior man house or a grad house. Because in order to reside in a level 1 under NARR, the individuals need to have a strong foundation of recovery and a high accumulation of recovery capital. So what that looks like is it's your guys and gals that have 9 to 12 months in the program. They already have, a sponsor or mentor or support groups. They're doing the deal already, and they don't really need to be pushed in those directions. They just need somewhere that is a peer supportive, drug and alcohol free environment. And typically it's a much longer length of stay. This is long-term housing. Now, when we get to our level 2s, we have a house manager. Doesn't have to be called a house manager. You could be a house mom, house dad, peer leader, whatever it is, but you have someone in the home that has lived experience that also resides in the home with those residents. And they're a peer. They have to abide by the same rules and regulations as the residents. However, they've proven themselves over time to be accountable, and so they're going to get some extra responsibilities in the home and be your eyes and ears while directory staff is not available. But they do sleep at night. They're not expected to be awake at all times. Whereas in our level 3s, we're going to have formally trained staff that not only has lived experience, but has gone through some type of formalized training and may be credentialed. This staff is going to be compensated just like a bona fide employee. They may not be on site 24/7. However, there's a more formalized schedule, and there's also more formalized programming, not clinical programming, but like life skills development, 12-step immersion, relapse prevention, and it's on a formalized timeline. It's not just Johnny needs help with his resume, so we're going to sit down and help him. This is on an actual schedule where residents can participate in these different group activities. Then as we move into our level 4s, you're going to have the trained staff, formally trained staff and or credentialed staff. They are compensated and they are 24/7, 365 available. So typically there's 3 or 4 shifts, and you'll have those individuals there on site supervising, monitoring clients at all times. And there is that blend of clinical and social. So these are individuals that are still receiving clinical services traditionally off-site, but they come back to the home, and this is more than just a boarding house. This is recovery residence where we get to cultivate that social model philosophy within the home. So let's talk about social model philosophy. Where is it? Oh, there we go. The social model philosophy in recovery residences is centered around a belief that individuals in recovery benefit from a supportive community environment that fosters empowerment, mutual respect, and shared responsibility. Unlike traditional treatment approaches, the social model emphasizes peer support, personal accountability, and collaboration as essential components of the recovery process. And I am going to share this video with you all, which is one of my favorites on how we shifted our views of how to treat addiction and what addiction really is.
What causes, say, heroin addiction? This is a really
Oh.
stupid question, right? It's obvious. We all know it. Heroin causes heroin addiction. Here's how it works. If you use heroin for 20 days, by day 21, your body would physically crave the drug ferociously because there are chemical hooks in the drug. That's what addiction means. But there's a catch. Almost everything we think we know about addiction is wrong. If you, for example, break your hip, you'll be taken to a hospital and you'll be given loads of diamorphine for weeks or even months. Diamorphine is heroin. It's in fact much stronger heroin than any addict can get on the street because it's not contaminated by all the stuff drug dealers dilute it with. There are people near you being given loads of deluxe heroin in hospitals right now. So at least some of them should become addicts. But this has been closely studied. It doesn't happen. Your grandmother wasn't turned into a junkie by her hip replacement. Why is that? Our current theory of addiction comes in part from a series of experiments that were carried out earlier in the 20th century. The experiment is simple. You take a rat and put it in a cage with two water bottles. One is just water, the other is water laced with heroin or cocaine. Almost every time you run this experiment, the rat will become obsessed with the drugged water and keep coming back for more and more until it kills itself. But in the 1970s, Bruce Alexander, a professor of psychology, noticed something odd about this experiment. The rat is put in the cage all alone. It has nothing to do but take the drugs. What would happen, he wondered, if we tried this differently? So he built Rat Park, which is basically heaven for rats. It's a lush cage where the rats would have coloured balls, tunnels to scamper down, plenty of friends to play with, and they could have loads of sex. Everything a rat about town could want. And they would have the drugged water and the normal water bottles. But here's the fascinating thing. In Rat Park, rats hardly ever use the drugged water. None of them ever use it compulsively. None of them ever overdose. But maybe this is a quirk of rats, right? Well, helpfully, there was a human experiment along the same lines, the Vietnam War. 20% of American troops in Vietnam were using a lot of heroin. People back home were really panicked because they thought there would be hundreds of thousands of junkies on the streets of the United States when the war was over. But a study followed the soldiers home and found something striking. They didn't go to rehab. They didn't even go into withdrawal. 95% of them just stopped after they got home. If you believe the old theory of addiction, that makes no sense. But if you believe Professor Alexander's theory, it makes perfect sense. Because if you're put into a horrific jungle in a foreign country where you don't want to be, and you can be forced to kill or die at any moment, doing heroin is a great way to spend your time. But if you go back to your nice home with your friends and your family, it's the equivalent of being taken out of that first cage and put into a human rat park. It's not the chemicals, it's your cage. We need to think about addiction differently. Human beings have an innate need to bond and connect. When we are happy and healthy, we will bond with the people around us. But when we can't, because we're traumatized, isolated, or beaten down by life, we will bond with something that gives us some sense of relief. It might be endlessly checking a smartphone, it might be pornography, video games, Reddit, gambling, or it might be cocaine. But we will bond with something because that is our human nature. The path out of unhealthy bonds is to form healthy bonds, to be connected to people you want to be present with. Addiction is just one symptom of the crisis of disconnection that's happening all around us. We all feel it. Since the 1950s, the average number of close friends an American has been steadily declining. At the same time, the amount of floor space in their homes has been steadily increasing. To choose floor space over friends, to choose stuff over connection. The war on drugs we've been fighting for almost a century now has made everything worse. Instead of helping people heal and getting their life together, we have cast them out from society. We have made it harder for them to get jobs and become stable. We take benefits and support away from them if we catch them with drugs. We throw them in prison cells, which are literally cages. We put people who are not well in a situation that makes them feel worse and hate them for not recovering. For too long, we've talked only about individual recovery from addiction. But we need now to talk about social recovery, because something has gone wrong with us as a group. We have to build a society that looks a lot more like Rat Park and a lot less like those isolated cages. We are going to have to change the unnatural way we live and rediscover each other. The opposite of addiction is not sobriety. The opposite of addiction is connection.
All right, so that really breaks down the shift that's happening now in our culture with how we look at addiction. It's not just the drugs. The drugs are something that addicts and alcoholics that we think is going to help us with our issues that are internal, right? And so it's interesting because that study was done over 40 years ago, along with a lot of other studies, but it's just now being recognized for its work. And Bruce Alexander is still around and helping with that development. So let's look at the history. So the origins of the social model philosophy and recovery residences has its roots in mutual aid movement, particularly in the development of 12-step programs in the early 20th century. It was a response to the limitations of medical and clinical models, emphasizing the importance of peer support, community, and personal responsibility in the recovery process. Over the decades, the social model philosophy has evolved to incorporate evidence-based practices, trauma-informed care, and cultural competence. It has adapted to address the diverse needs of individuals in recovery and has gained recognition for its humanistic and empowering approach. The history of social model philosophy and recovery residence has seen its influence extend beyond addiction recovery into mental health, homelessness, and other social issues. Its principles have inspired the development of recovery-oriented systems of care worldwide. So what are the benefits of implementing the social model of recovery? Let me move my screen up here. First, it's a supportive environment. So implementing the social model philosophy and recovery residence creates a supportive environment that fosters camaraderie and empathy. Residents are encouraged to support each other, share experiences, and work together towards a common goal of recovery. This supportive atmosphere can significantly enhance the emotional well-being of individuals in recovery. Community integration. By embracing the social model of recovery philosophy, recovery residents can promote community integration. This approach encourages residents to engage in community activities, volunteer work, and social events, helping them rebuild connections and establish a sense of belonging outside of the residence. Community integration greatly contributes to overall recovery processes. And we actually did a study in Florida with Dr. David Best that actually proves this model. If you have individuals that participate in a minimum of 3 meaningful, measurable activities outside of the home, like meetings, obtaining a home group, working with a sponsor, going to church, anything that's meaningful and measurable, and also adding at least one community integration element, work, school, volunteerism, those individuals living in recovery residences have 200% more likely chance at long-term sobriety post 45 days. And that 45 days is the time where we need to get in and eliminate barriers to recovery and unmet service needs. So if they're struggling with something, you need to address it in the first 45 days. We'll get to that later. The last piece of this is peer accountability. Implementation of the social model philosophy emphasizes peer accountability, where residents hold each other responsible for their actions and their commitments. This peer-driven accountability fosters a sense of personal responsibility and helps individuals develop essential life skills. Effective peer accountability can lead to positive behavioral changes and substantial recovery outcomes. So the key components of the social model philosophy in recovery residence is first peer support. One of the key components emphasizes peer support. This involves individuals in recovery providing each other with encouragement, understanding, and guidance as they navigate their journey towards sobriety. So it's not just someone in a staff role who may be in recovery, but they've had some time away from being where you guys are at and living and being first day in a home and not knowing the new guys and gals in there. And shifting it to a peer focus where you can sit with your peer and actually talk about what's going on and how the house runs and how you're going to be held accountable. Social reinforcement. Peer support acts as an essential social reinforcement, helping individuals in recovery residents to normalize sobriety and reinforce positive behavioral patterns that promote substance-free lifestyle. And lastly, mutual aid. Recovery residents that uphold the social model philosophy promote mutual aid, where individuals work together to address common challenges related to addiction, housing, and reintegration into community. And the importance of community and mutual support in recovery residences, empowerment through connection. And a recovery residence guided by social model philosophy, the sense of belonging and connection to the community plays a pivotal role in empowering individuals on the recovery journey to recovery. The mutual support and understanding within a community fosters a sense of solidarity, providing individuals with the strength and resilience to navigate through challenges. Emotional safety and stability. Within a supportive community, individuals feel emotionally secure and stable. The validation and empathy from peers creates a safe space for open communication, vulnerability, and emotional healing. This emotional safety is crucial for individuals to address underlying issues and work towards sustainable recovery. And share learning and growth. Community and mutual support create an environment where individuals can share experiences, insights, and knowledge. This collaborative learning and growth contribute to holistic development of residents, allowing them to learn from each other's successes and setbacks, ultimately enhancing their recovery journey. And then long-term recovery support networks. The establishment of strong community ties to mutual support networks within recovery residences reinforces long-term recovery. These networks extend beyond the recovery residence, providing residents with ongoing support and resources as they transition back into society, promoting sustained sobriety and wellness. Let's talk about the roles of peers. All right, so we're going to see a lot of different titles as it relates to this role that we're talking about, a peer leader. You may be a house president, house manager, a peer leader, a resident leader, a house parent, or the recovery residents may have cultivated a peer council where there are many people that are looking at what's best for the overall community and voting on those. No matter how you look at it, it's all peer. You are a peer, you are a peer leader. The roles of peer support in the social model philosophy. So peer support roles play a pivotal part in the social model philosophy of recovery residences. So first of all, everyone on this call is immediately qualified. So you as all are qualified to hold this position. It involves individuals who have lived experience with addiction and recovery, offering support, empathy, and guidance to their peers who are undergoing similar journeys. This form of support will create a unique sense of understanding and connection as peers can relate to each other's struggles and triumphs. In these settings, peer support fosters a community where individuals feel understood and accepted, reducing feelings of isolation and stigma. Peer support workers act as role models, demonstrating that sustained recovery is achievable and offering hope to those who may be grappling with doubts. Through shared experience and mutual encouragement, individuals in recovery can develop a sense of belonging and purpose, which is connection. And connection is key to long-term recovery. And then you will inspire. Peer support promotes empowerment as it encourages individuals to take an active role in their recovery journey. This approach emphasizes the importance of collaboration, self-determination, and the belief that everyone has the potential for positive change. Peer support also extends beyond the physical boundaries of the residences as individuals continue to support each other in the broader community, strengthening their network of recovery. So, introduction to peers and recovery residences. So, recovery residences are specialized living spaces that provide structured, supportive environments for individuals seeking to overcome substance use and addiction. These sanctuaries may be called sober living homes or recovery housing, serve as a stepping stone for residents who are working towards rebuilding their lives and maintaining long-term sobriety. The core philosophy of recovery residences revolves around a collective journey towards wellness. Here, individuals are not isolated clients, but members of a nurturing and empathetic community, uplifting one another through shared experiences. So what is peer support? First, it's just having shared experience, that lived experience that you've all gone through. Peer support in recovery residences is a characteristic by mutual aid among residents, predicted on their common experiences with addiction and recovery. The shared history fosters trust and comprehensive understanding among peers. The next part is just empathy and understanding. Unlike professional counseling, peer support is driven by empathy arising from personal experience. This understanding creates a unique support system that resonates on a deeper level with residents. And then continuous availability. Peer support is often available around the clock, providing an unprecedented safety net. This around the clock accessibility ensures that assistance is at hand whenever the resident may need it. So the emotional support that you provide to your peers. Compassion in crises. During moments of vulnerability, peers provide compassionate support, offering a listening ear and a shoulder to lean on. This emotional solidarity is pivotal during the ups and downs of recovery. Sharing triumphs and setbacks. Resident peers are companions in both triumphs and setbacks, celebrating each other's victories and providing comfort in times of distress. This shared emotional landscape creates a robust support network. And instilling hope. Peers also play a crucial role in instilling hope through inspirational stories of recovery. Witnessing peer progress instills a sense of hope and possibility in other residents' own journeys. Practical support provided by peers. So, navigating systems. Residents who are further along in their recovery often guide the new members in navigating complex systems related to healthcare, legal issues, and employment, providing practical assistance derived from their experience. Skill sharing. Peer support includes sharing of life skills vital for independence, such as budgeting, cooking, and maintaining a job. These skills are often imparted through workshops or one-on-one mentorship in both formal and informal settings. And I can tell you, in my days of actually being in the recovery residence, working with the newcomers, I would call them all my children, even though a lot of them were a lot older than me, and just helping people through day-to-day activities. It's amazing sometimes the life skills that were not learned because of the long term of their addiction. And so sharing those skills is just a practical application that you guys can help your gals and girls with. And day-to-day challenges. Peers offer support with everyday challenges, lending a hand with transportation, reminding each other of appointments, and fostering mutual self-care practices. Oh, I don't know why I have those extra boxes in those boxes. The role of peer support in relapse prevention. So vigilance is one of the main things. The presence of peers who shared similar struggles with addiction serve as a significant deterrent to relapse. They can often detect early warning signs and intervene in a supportive manner. So you can tell someone's behavior is off, someone's not acting the same, they're not checking in, they're not showing up at meetings. You can tell in advance if someone's struggling, and you can reach out and lend some support. Strength in numbers. Peers collectively create a strong network that individuals can rely on when encountering triggers or cravings. This group strength makes relapse less likely as members share successful coping strategies. And continuous feedback. Continuous feedback from peers helps residents adjust their recovery approaches in real time, allowing for cultivation of stronger defense mechanisms against potential relapse. So peer support as a source of motivation and inspiration. 1, be role models. Seeing peers succeed serves as a powerful model for what is possible, encouraging others to stay on course and strive for their own recovery goals. Sharing in your success. Every shared success story fuels the collective spirit of the recovery residents, promoting others to work towards their personal victories. And this could be previous success stories where you see a resident struggling and you've been in that exact same situation before, and sharing how you got through it and your success with it. And co-creating goals. Co-creating goals with peers amplifies individual aspirations, creating an interconnected web of motivational dynamics and collaborative progress. So key takeaways as a role as a peer is impact on individuals' recoveries, emotional solidarity, building on resilience, and fostering healing in residents. Practical assistance facilitates that smoother reintegration into society. Relapse prevention reduces the indicance of relapse through mutual vigilance, and motivational and inspiration drives residents towards sustained sobriety and personal growth. Journey through recovery is multifaceted, with peer support within recovery residences playing a pivotal role. From emotional solidarity to practical day-to-day assistance, the fabric of peer support is woven throughout all aspects of recovery, aiding in preventing relapse and motivating individuals towards continued growth and development. As we reflect on the profound influence of peer support, the key takeaway is that the success of the recovery residents hinges not just on the framework of the program, but equally in the strength and compassion of the community within. Together form a sanctuary where healing and hope can flourish. And we're going to talk a lot about cultivating a community of recovery in later slides.